forms to the left of the dais. Please fill out the request with the agenda item that you wish to speak to and hand it to the secretary. Cell phones and electronic devices. At this time, we'd like to ask whether any member of the audience has a cell phone or other electronic device that you either turn it off or turn the ringer to silent. If you need to take a call, please step out to the hallway so the meeting will not be disrupted. Consent item. Item 1 has been placed on the consent calendar and may be approved as a group. Action will be taken on all consent items in accordance with staff recommendation by a single vote. Any item may be removed from the consent calendar by a planning commissioner, staff member, or audience member for separate consideration at this time. Are there any items to be pulled? Okay. Thank you. Okay. Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Item number 2 is on the non-consent. We only have one item on consent.
Right.
That would be the
I
minutes.
know that. Can I entertain a motion for the consent calendar? Motion been made. Is there a second? And seconded. For the consent calendar be approved. That's the minutes of the last meeting. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Now we're to the regular agenda items. Item number 2.
Item number 2 is 14 PD 19, final plan development for the Skyline Wilderness Park area, which was continued from the previous planning commission. Just to refresh your memory of the properties involved in the application. The concerns which were brought up during the previous planning commission were forwarded to the Parks Department, and then they returned a memo which was attached to this item on the agenda addressing the concerns that were raised. In addition, the staff report has been updated to point out a few of the issues which Parks Department has addressed, such as the Dinosaur Park Master Plan, identifying that Hangman's Tree plaque will be relocated and redesigned in the future, and that paving of the parking areas allows for proper stormwater management to reduce erosion downhill from the parking areas, as well as allowing for winter maintenance, and specifically some details on the West Fulton Street trailhead. Alex DeSchmidt with the Parks Department is here to answer any additional questions you may have. Are there any questions for staff at this time? Our recommendation is still to approve with stipulations.
Any questions for staff? Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
If we could take some comments from Alex representing the Parks Department, and then we do have some individuals in the audience that would like to make some comments as well.
Alex, would you please come forward and identify yourself?
Good morning. Thank you. Alex D. Smith, landscape designer, Rapid City Parks and Recreation, the project manager for this for the city. Be happy to answer any questions you have on any item. Thank you, Fletcher, for doing that last time in my absence. I apologize for that. I just gotten married, so timing was a little off there, but here now, and be happy to answer any questions from the public or from the committee.
I think we do have some public questions. Barbara, would you like to come identify yourself? Yes, please.
The park is going to be...
Can you identify yourself first?
I'm Barbara Shining, a resident of the Forest Court area. And we're not against the park being there, but we want it to get off to a very good start with proper signing so that people realize pets are on leash, no fires of any kind, no motorized vehicles, closes at 10 o'clock at night, that sort of thing, because it can be very disruptive to a home area when you have a public facility like that. And we're hoping that the parking lot will not become a gathering point for all kinds of nonsense all night long. We live not far from the Congregational Church, and when we first moved up there, it was a party night every night in the parking lot with smashing out the light on the cross and that sort of thing, and climbing on top of the church and ringing the bells. So we know what all kinds of nonsense can happen. So it's our wish that it starts out on a very good foot. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Any other comments or questions? Karen?
Hi. I think the biggest question that most people have, or at least I have, is that one parking lot. I know we've got one comment from somebody that had written in about the ability to party up there, and anytime you have an open parking lot, that's kind of an invitation to some people that they would like to do that. I know the police patrol that, probably not every, I don't know how they often, if they go up there every hour or what their schedule is to go up there, but is there going to be any lighting at all up there? I know we don't want a lot of light up there, but in that parking lot?
At this time, we didn't propose to do any lighting other than security lighting associated with that restroom that's planned for up there. I know Lieutenant Fox is here. If you have any specific questions regarding PD, I can direct you to her. She might be able to answer those better than I. But in terms of signage for that parking lot and how it's signed currently, it's basically just a gravel pull-off. You can just pull off the side of the road. People are inclined to do so just because of the nature of that overlook up there. And moving forward to address signage, we have a variety of levels of signage, from master signs that tell you that you've entered the park now, to roadside signage that tells you where these trailheads are and what they're called, and then signage down to the level of trailhead signs, park hour signs, dogs on leash, and waste stations associated with those, so that pets can grab a bag and they can see the sign right there. And really just an indication that you're in a park. That's not how the site is really used right now. It's basically just you're on the side of a road. So making that feel more like a park, giving PD the ability to say, hey, you're in a park, and then point to park signs that identify that you're in a park, kind of opens the door for them to have a little more authority, as well as increased maintenance staff that's going to be through there regularly, which typically right now we don't have anyone that's got a regular routine to go through that area, empty garbage, see what's going on, that kind of thing. So.
Okay, thank you. If Lieutenant Fox wouldn't mind, I would just like to know how the patrol works up there in that area.
Live. Both of them. Currently, officers go up there in their shift. Some shifts that have a lot of activity, if it's a very busy time of day, it is difficult to get up there. If they're called a call, taking that route can put them kind of out of the game for where their next call is. So no, there isn't an hourly obligation to make a pass over Skyline, just like there isn't an hourly obligation to get to any street in town. It's more of when we have time to patrol it. So it's dependent upon staffing and activity.
Okay, thank you. I think the Skyline Drive trailheads and all the things that are planned up there are really an improvement, and I think you'll get a lot more use out of Skyline Drive. People will be able to walk and hike up there. I am a little concerned about the parking lot, just because it's just an invitation, you know. If in the future, if there is a lot of activity up there, have you considered putting more lighting up there?
Absolutely. We'll obviously be continuing to monitor that. PD, you know, they keep us informed of activities that go on up there, vandalism. We have a number of neighbors of that park that police it themselves and clean up and are in contact with us as well, that we've had conversations with that really know about the activities that go on up there. And we've got a good idea of what those activities are, and unfortunately, that's just how some people utilize the parks. It goes on throughout the system, but in terms of getting people up there that are doing the right thing, typically that disperses those activities that go on throughout the day. They're not just at night, they're there all the time. So increasing that usage up there and centralizing where people are accessing, where people are parking and, taking their dog for a walk, going biking, going hiking, really creates a lot of turnover in those areas and keeps people from just hanging out and doing the wrong things.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions?
Move approval. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded for approval. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you.
Item number 3, please.
Thank you. Good morning. Item number 3 is 14 PD 021, a major amendment to a plan development to allow an on-sale liquor establishment on approximately 1.82 acres of property located at 5509 Bent Drive. This is southwest of the intersection of Bent Drive and Catron Boulevard. In March of 2007, the Planning Commission approved a final plan development to allow construction of a commercial development comprised of 5 suites. The applicant today is requesting a major amendment to the plan development to allow an on-sale liquor establishment in conjunction with a coffee shop. Currently, the coffee shop is offering food sales such as rolls, bagels, wraps, and salads and sandwiches. The applicant is proposing to add the sale and service of beer and wine as a part of the meal menu. Let me take you through some slides. Zoning and location of the property, you can see it's just east of the intersection of Catron Boulevard and Sheridan Lake Road, principal arterial street in the city's major street plan. Aerial view of the property is the proposed, or the existing strip mall today. No expansions or additions are being proposed as a part of this on-sale liquor establishment. Site layout, you notice here the site for the proposed the suite within the strip mall for the proposed on-sale liquor establishment is comprised of 1,400 square feet, located on what would be the north end of the strip mall. Photo of the front of the suite with the on-sale liquor, the notification sign posted in the window. A look at Bent Drive as it intersects with Catron Boulevard looking north, and some of the residential developments you can see to the north of the property. I'll look on Bent Drive to the south. You can see there is some residential development around the bend there, and the area continues to develop with a variety of commercial and residential uses. I'll look at Catron Boulevard to the west. The intersection of Catron and Sheridan Lake Road is the signaled intersection in the center of the screen. And I'll look at Catron Boulevard facing east, the car wash there, and then additional development that's occurring to the east. Also, I wanted to give you a look at the north side of the building. They are including a drive-through window for the coffee house or coffee delivery portion of the business, so that people on their way to work can grab a cup of coffee on the trip. One last shot of the property with the parking lot. You can see of the 5 suites, 3 of them proposed to be occupied: the coffee shop, Sylvan Learning Center, and Domino's Pizza. The submitted operations plan for the coffee house, as I said before, is proposing to serve beer and wine as an accessory to the primary coffee house use. Alcohol service will be provided only between the hours of 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. And the facility is not proposed to be operated or function as a bar. In addition, no outdoor seating is being proposed. Given the limited hours of operation and the operations plan submitted by the applicant regarding the character of the use, it appears that the potential negative impacts of this use are being sufficiently mitigated. With that, staff is recommending that the proposed on-sale liquor establishment be approved with the stipulations outlined in the staff report. We have the business owners here and their representative available to speak if you have any questions. Otherwise, are there any questions for staff at this time?
Any questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Move to approve with stipulations.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion, against? Motion passed. Item number 4.
Item number 4 is 14RZ008, a rezoning from low-density residential District 1 to low-density residential District 2 for property located south of South Dakota Highway 44 and east of Elkvale Road. Give you an idea of where it is. This is part of the Orchard Meadows development and is identified in the Orchard Meadows Master Plan as for townhome development. In low-density residential District 2, townhome development is a permitted use. Staff's recommendation is that this be approved.
Eric?
I'll be abstaining from this item due to a relationship with the applicant.
Any other comments or questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Motion's been made and seconded by Eric to approve this. Dennis, oh, excuse me, I guess I can't hear either. Thank you, Dennis. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Item number 5. One abstention, yes.
Good morning. 14-OA-007, or item number 5 is 14-OA-007. It's a ordinance, an amendment to the Rapid City Municipal Code, Section 1722.030, to allow child care centers as a conditional use in the light industrial district without being associated with another permitted principal use. Currently, Chapter 1722.030 states that a child care center is a conditional use in the light industrial district only if it is associated with, included, incidental to, or associated with a permitted principal use located in close proximity to the proposed child care center. Recently, staff noted that many of the same uses that are permitted in the general commercial district are also permitted uses in the light industrial district. And it really is dependent upon the character of the use and the character of the property where the proposed uses are being proposed as to whether or not the location is appropriate. We recently had a group contact the city with hopes to start a child care center in a property that was zoned light industrial district. The property had served as a child care center in the past, but due to current regulations, it was not going to be permitted, or it would not have been permitted because they were proposing to advertise to the general public. We went through their options with them, and they decided that they would like to submit an amendment to the ordinance for your consideration to eliminate the need to have a child care center to be associated with another principal use. Several reasons staff can support this measure. The first, Section 1750.150 of the Municipal Code specifically lists the requirements for review for a child care center. Those are listed in the staff report. I won't go over all of them, but some of the things that we do consider include the provision of a play area, proximity to major streets and arterials, the expected traffic, both already in the area and what's to be what would be created by the proposed use. Parking and unloading and unloading zones to be provided for the child care are also something we take into account. We believe that the current standards for reviewing a child care center are sufficient to ensure that the character of the use and the character of the location are appropriate for a child care center. Second, we should also note that the child care centers are required to be licensed by the state. They have their own set of regulations and standards that must be met in order to receive the certification for a child care center. We believe that that, in combination with our existing regulations, should be sufficient to ensure enough that oversight is being provided for the use. Staff has noted also that given the similar nature of the uses that are located in the general commercial district and the light industrial district. We believe that using the conditional use permitting process as a way to review each child care center would be sufficient. And with that, staff recommends that the ordinance amendments to allow child care center as a conditional use in the light industrial district without being associated with a principal use be approved.
Any questions? Not, I'd entertain a motion. Karen moved approval. Eric seconded the motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Item number 6.
Item number 6 is 14 PD 22, a major amendment to a plan development to reduce the minimum required side yard setback for a property located at 4931 Steamboat Circle. Take you through some slides. Property zone low density residential district. It's located on Steamboat Circle, and Red Rock Canyon Road is on the back side of the property. There's an existing structure dwelling located on the property. The structure was built in the county and annexed into the city. Currently, it has an existing 5-foot side yard setback on this side of the property. The applicant is proposing to construct additions onto the existing structure. On this side will be a attached garage. There will be a deck on the back side. And the issue is extending the 5-foot side yard setback along what was basically the southwest side of the property. Technically, the structure is a 2-story structure requiring a 12-foot side yard setback, and the applicant is proposing to continue the existing 5-foot side yard setback for the addition. The major issue that came up was with the fire department and the requirement that the let me get you through some slides here. There's the existing property. Property to the north, it's about 100 feet away. However, should they come forward in the future and construct a detached garage accessory structure, they could be 8 foot from the property line, which would which would have a setback or separation from the proposed structure of 13 feet when the separation should be 20 feet. And so stipulation number 1 would grant the reduction in side yard setback provided that the applicant get a no-build easement 15 feet wide from the adjacent property owner, or fire sprinkler protect the structure. And that's looking at the rear side of the property where the addition will be located. Staff recommends that the major amendment be approved with the stipulations as noted in the staff report. The applicant is here for any questions. Are there any questions for staff at this time?
Aaron?
Fletcher, could you show me the picture of the building again, the house that's in question, the front of it? This is the front?
Yes.
Okay, and so they're going to add another garage to the right-hand side, is that correct?
That's one of the proposed additions, yes.
Okay, so they'll have 2 garages, or, an extended garage? That,
Would be 3 vehicle.
okay. Okay, thank you.
And the issue, though, is the side yard setback on the rear side of the property, extending that 5-foot setback. And so staff believes that with the no build easement or fire sprinkler protecting the building, that issue should be mitigated.
Have they got that no-build?
That would be prior to issuance of a building permit, getting
Okay.
that.
Okay, otherwise they have to fire sprinkle. Got it. Thank you.
Steve?
Could you go back to the area view where you see the buildings? So as we're looking at the current, is the garage going to go to the right-hand side, or is it the left-hand side we're looking at?
The garage, the attached garage would be on this side of the structure.
And the concern was that the house to the right of them would build,
It's on this side is the concern, is extending this 5-foot side yard setback rather than having it at 12 feet. Should the adjacent property owner, this one, decide that they wanted to construct a detached accessory structure, they could be 8 feet from the property line, which would reduce the separation between their existing structure and any proposed structure the adjacent property owner may have. And there were concerns brought up by the fire department.
Tim, what is your concern they're going to build at the other end of their yard?
Good morning. Our recommendations or my stipulations placed up on that are consistent with other recommendations for reduced setbacks, often as what we see come through the variance board or zoning board of adjustments. The main thing is establishing the criteria to ensure that we maintain the appropriate space between potential structures. The existing condition that's there now is not an issue with the existing home. It would be if another structure was constructed on the adjacent property and constructed in compliance with the current zoning ordinances. This new addition with the existing home continues to create the reduced setback problem. With the 5-foot setback that currently exists on this gentleman's home, there's nothing we can do with that part of it. We can't change things from the past, but we do have the opportunity to correct it from the future and not continue that setback issue. So it's a consistent methodology that we use at the fire department, either use a no-build type of easement or use the tools of a residential fire sprinkler protection system to offset that criteria. So,
Thank you.
thanks.
Amanda?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And just for clarification, may I address a question to Tim?
Yes.
Thank you. And just for clarification, when you're making the stipulation for the requirement for the neighbor to have a no-build easement or sprinkler, you're not asking for sprinkler system to be put in this addition when it's constructed. You're asking for the neighbor to have sprinkling if they build anything in that no easement?
Great question. No, it would not affect the adjacent property at all. What this would do is that since we are dealing with a request for a reduced setback, we would be asking for fire sprinkler protection as part of the construction project to protect the existing home, the home that's being modified.
So that's the current property.
That's the current property.
So is this an either or is it both? Is it requesting sprinkler protection in the existing home and the addition that's going on to this existing lot, so that becomes this property owner's responsibility, and requesting a no easement build for the neighbor?
It's actually an either or. It's a couple of options that are available to allow us to help support this.
So therefore, as long as the current applicant is willing to put a sprinkler system in, they don't need to even worry about getting the no-build easement from their adjoining property owner.
Correct.
Thank you for the explanation.
Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
If we look at the stipulation and how it's actually written, it does clearly state that the sprinkler would be required in the existing structure that would allow for it to be expanded with this 5-foot setback, or that a no-build easement be obtained from the adjacent property owner. And it's my understanding that the applicant has been working with that adjacent property owner towards obtaining that no-build easement, and I think that he may have something to add to that.
Sure. Thank you. Good morning. Travis Jones. I am the homeowner and applicant. And Fletcher, I don't know if you could bring back up the aerial view, but Mr. Rollinger had a question about the 5-foot setback, and I know it's the fire department's concern that there would be, or there's the potential for a standalone garage structure to be constructed on the neighbors to what really is kind of the west there. It's Ron and Mary Lee McLaughlin at Shadow Mountain Court. What you can't see in the photograph because of the trees But the McLaughlins, in addition to their two-car garage that you see attached to their driveway that comes off Steamboat Circle, is they also have a four-car garage that they access from Red Rock Canyon Road that sets back. You can kind of see the little white slide. They have a play area right there. Right behind that is a four-car garage, and it's actually an oversized four-car garage. Oh, and it sets right here. So, frankly, I think the likelihood that the McLaughlins would construct a standalone garage, within this area is, it's unlikely. But Ron and Marilee, I can tell you, they're salt of the earth people. When we started this project, they came to us and said, even before we knew there was a 5-foot setback issue or a setback issue, they said, can we just give you part of our lot here? Would it be easier for you to extend to the west? Would that just be easier and more financially feasible for you? I mean, they're good people. So they've agreed to this easement, or I think it more properly would probably be called a covenant not to build as opposed to an easement. And I understand completely the fire department's stance, but I don't think it's necessary. I think this could be approved without the stipulations, because all we're doing is extending the line of our house. It's a remote chance at best that there would be any structure constructed within, that 8-foot area that I know the fire department's concerned about. We're willing to do whatever we have to do because we love the area. We don't want to move. So I would stand by for any questions. Otherwise, I would ask the committee to approve without stipulations.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
We appreciate those comments, and certainly it's wonderful to see neighbors get along as well as they do. However, properties are sold each and every day, and the next owner down the road may have future plans. And if we have a document that's secured with the property and they purchase it, they'll always know that they can't build in that area. And that's just a disclaimer up front that keeps us all on the same page.
Thank you, Vicki. Any other questions? If not, I'd accept a motion. Motion's been made by Dennis and second by Karen with stipulations to approve this item. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Discussion items?
We'd just like to bring to the Planning Commission's attention that the city staff is currently working on revising how we're going to be bringing forward our staff reports, the actual formatting in and of itself. You may recall when the Jim Lee study was presented to you some months ago, one of the critiques within that report was that our staff reports are cumbersome, difficult to get through, that the end result is that many of you aren't reading them. So we've looked at what other communities are doing, and we are looking at bringing something forward in a more chart design. Before we adopt that policy, we will be having a presentation for full discussion with you so that we can all be in agreement with what is the compromise between what we have today and shortening them to some degree. So look forward to that. Should be a fun work session for us.
Thanks, Vicki. We appreciate it. Any other comments? If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Eric made the motion to adjourn. Karen seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed to adjourn. Thank you all.